Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician. Today we're going to be going over, I believe it is 6 items that I think you should stay away from. Whether that be the tool in general is just not worth it, the design is horrible, or it might be a tool that I think you could get by with just going with a different brand. So I will try and link down below some items that I believe are worth it over what I've went with in the past. I'll also show you not just the items that I think you should stay away from. I also have some alternates that I purchased instead that I've been much more pleased with, so I'll kind of give you a couple different options. And once again, I'll try and link down below everything that I believe is worth it. And some of these have been a full disappointment, and then some of these have just been like, if they just made a simple change here or there, it could have really been a huge improvement on the tool. But I really hope you guys enjoy. If you guys have any personal experience with any of these, please feel free to drop a comment down below of your guys' experience. And if you guys enjoy, make sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into this.
First one up being the wire wheels and stuff from Harbor Freight. I bought the 5-piece set, and I kept these in my box for I don't know how long. I used them a couple days after I bought them back in like 2015, 2016 time frame. And first time I used it, I had wires flying everywhere. This thing was way more dangerous than it was helpful. And at first I thought it was just the first one, so I threw in a different one. Same exact thing. I threw away all of them except for this one. The wires are pretty short on it, so I haven't had issues with it, but I was not happy with that. So if you're thinking about picking up a wire wheel set or anything like that, I don't recommend the one from Harbor Freight. I haven't had good experiences with it. If you guys have, fantastic, but I personally will not buy the wire wheels from Harbor Freight again. Then next up, I was doing a little bit of work with these burr bits. Well, I needed to do some work with some burr bits, and so I picked this set up many years ago. Maybe I bought it on eBay, I don't know. I know it's straight from China. This is the cover for it. I don't know if they're still available or what, but these are actually smaller and designed for a rotary tool. You could throw them in a drill, but they're made more for a rotary tool. And unfortunately, as you can see here, 2 of them are bent pretty badly. And I will tell you, I did not use hardly any pressure at all, and I had the bit inserted quite a ways, and I kept trying to adjust it to prevent it from doing that. But as soon as it wasn't straight anymore, obviously it was not working in the rotary tool very well. So when it comes to burr bits, there's a reason why they're pretty expensive. Honestly, if you want a good quality burr bit, it's going to cost you some money. And a lot of the times when you go the cheaper route, and this goes for many things, but a lot of times when you go the cheaper route with burr bits, it's not going to not only perform because of the shafts on these, but the quality, durability, and life of the burr bits are pretty lacking, to say the least. So if it comes to burr bits, I suggest staying away from the cheaper stuff and getting yourself some good quality. And even though they do cost more up front, they can save you a lot of time and headache compared to working with something cheap. This is one tool I believe spending a little bit of money on and picking up just a few, depending on the type of work you do, obviously. Next up is this set of crimpers and strippers. This one is from Nyko. There are many brands now on Amazon that sell these. These I bought back when they were really the only knockoffs of like the Snap-on. And I really like the Snap-on design. I didn't have access to a Snap-on truck at the time, so I picked these up because they were cheap, similar to the Snap-on design, and even for a fraction of the price, I was hoping, they'd be pretty decent. And while the stripping portion works just fine, the gripping and all of that works just fine, I don't like the crimping portion up there where it says bare. It is a very sharp, square cut edge. Now, to solve this issue, you could simply go in and file down the corners of that, save yourself some money, whatnot. But I want to say these were like 20 bucks. I can't remember for sure. I'll have similar items linked down below. but similar items that are better quality linked down below. But you can get this from the Snap-on ones. Honestly, aren't priced that bad, especially if you do a lot of wiring. Their stripper crimper version like this is fantastic. Carlisle also has a very, very similar set to that is designed much, much better than that. I even have a video on these pliers and some of the other alternatives. So there are better versions of this. Without going the Snap-on route, there are better versions of this that are designed just a little bit better. And while these haven't been a complete disappointment, obviously they weren't what I was hoping for, but not terrible at the same time. I still use it constantly for the stripping and cutting portion. I just refrain from using that crimping portion. Honestly, I should file it down and see how it performs after that, just because anytime I do use that crimping portion, it does tend to destroy the connectors that I'm working with. That is number 3. Number 4 is going to be the Dremel brand Dremels, especially the cordless ones. I owned 2 in the past and had almost immediate failure. The batteries would not hold a charge and they did not perform as well as I was hoping, especially for the amount of money that I had spent on them at the time. This was probably back in 16-17 time frame. After the second one failed, after about 2 charges, I decided I would not be running Dremel again. Now, if you have good experiences with Dremel, maybe the corded stuff is much better, but the cordless ones I haven't had good experiences with and would not recommend them. I can't stand them. I was really disappointed for the amount of money that I spent. So after spending, I don't know, $150 or so on those 2, I went and picked up this $20 rotary tool from Wen. And I've had this thing since 16 or 17, and it has performed extremely well. Now this one does come with the flex shaft up in the top. Sorry, it's hard to get on camera. It does come with that flex shaft. You can get it, I think this is like $26, $28 with the flex shaft, or you can just get the bare tool itself for $16 or $18, something like that. And once again, I've had this for years. I've probably used it 200-300 times, and it has held up very, very well. If this thing burned up right now, I would just go out and buy the exact same thing because it has done such a good job over the years, and I am extremely pleased with it. But number 4 is just the Dremel cordless rotary tool, and what I went with instead, and I've been extremely happy, especially for the price that I paid for that. Now, one thing I will say, the accessories or items that come with the Wen rotary tool aren't the best. And then I bought a big variety pack of just rotary accessories: wire wheels, discs, cutting discs, sanding rolls, grinding wheels, polishing wheels. I mean, a lot of accessories I bought, and honestly, a lot of the cheaper accessories are absolute garbage. They don't last, they don't perform very well, and even though they're extremely cheap, they are not worth it. And I will say, as far as Dremel, those are items I will buy from Dremel. Any of the accessories or tools, now the polishing stuff, I don't use all that often, but that will probably do just fine on the cheaper stuff. But when it comes to cutting discs and stuff and things that kind of need to last and perform well, I will buy from Dremel. I won't buy the cheap bulk stuff. I will just go with Dremel. And then that is number 5. The last one up that I want to mention is another one that I don't own anymore. If you guys follow the channel and you followed it for a while, you guys might have heard this story. But back when I was, I don't know, I was still in the Army. I was probably 20 years old, and I had a socket set that I always kept in my car. I had, at the time, I think I had my 93 Blazer Sport and a 300ZX, constantly working on both of them. But I always had a Stanley socket set. Nothing special, but it got me by for what I was doing at the time. But I let a buddy borrow my socket set in order to do an oil change or spark plugs or I can't remember what he was doing, but he needed to borrow the socket set. So I let him borrow it. Not a big deal. Well, I get it back, and there's a missing spark plug socket and a missing ratchet. The primary 3H drive ratchet and my primary go-to spark plug socket. Now, even though this wasn't a very expensive set, it was a decent sized set, and the ratchet being missing was the biggest thing. And the ratchet was nothing, spectacular, but he replaced it. It was what he replaced it with. You couldn't really get much cheaper than this Stanley set, but it did its job fairly well for what I needed. But when you replace it with something that's much worse than what was already in there was the disappointing part. And he replaced it with the Gator grip socket. I'll post a picture up in here so you guys can see. If you guys don't know what the Gator grip is, I'm sure you'll start seeing it on Facebook and Instagram and all your social media platforms now. It is a stupid socket with a bunch of pins in it that is supposed to allow you to, fit multiple different fasteners and rounded fasteners and all that. I used that socket maybe 2 times and launched that thing across the neighborhood. That was the dumbest tool that I had ever used. If you have good experiences with it, I am happy for you. I'm extremely happy for you. But I think that is one of the dumbest tools I've ever used. And this one specifically came with a ratchet, but it was like your 80s style ratchet, which I'll post a picture up in here, but with zero quality to it whatsoever. It was probably a 24 or 32 tooth, ratchet, but it sounded like a Ram truck ticking and grinding. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a bundle set where he bought the ratchet and the socket together, and they were 2 of the worst tools I've ever used in my life and would not recommend those to anybody. But there are many other tools out there that allow you to work with multiple size fasteners or rounded and rusted fasteners. No, they're not cheap, but they're designed to do a specific job, which usually you want a good quality tool when you're dealing with those types of fasteners that are rounded, rusted, corroded, anything like that. So that is it as far as the 5/6 items that I want to mention staying away from and some of the alternatives that I've went with. But I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. Also, drop a comment down below of some tools that you may have regretted buying in the past and something that you would suggest as an alternative. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.